Welcome to my guide for tips and tricks on parsing as an Unholy DK in Dragon Soul, the last tier of Cataclysm Classic. Whether you're someone who is struggling to get your orange or pink numbers or someone who isn't, this guide has boss-specific tips to help you improve your damage and your parses. As of making this guide, I'm currently ranked in the top 100 for All-Star points, and I'm not in a Parse Focus guild. So the information I'm giving you in this guide may or may not be the most optimal way to play, but it is what has worked for me and what I've seen by going through logs. Stick around till the end for a pro tip that will increase your DPS regardless of class. And if you're new to the channel, please like this video and subscribe to see more content as I continue to release new videos. If you want to ask me questions directly, you can always come by when I stream. The link to my stream is in the description. Alright, so quick disclaimer here. Don't be stupid. Some of these tips and tricks require communication with your raid lead ahead of time, depending on how your group is doing these fights. You don't want to ignore raid assignments, unless you've communicated and received permission beforehand. Now, on to the tips for each boss. Morchok. Use all your CDs off the rip. Spread your diseases with Pestilence while Morchok and Cockrum are close enough together. Keep Death and Decay for when they're stacked. If your group is keeping them separated during Black Blood, stay in and pop AMS right when the third stack of the debuff appears to survive. You'll be able to reset your stacks and lose the debuff. If they're stacked during Black Phase, you may need to run out to survive. You can run in with AMS at around 7-8 seconds remaining in their cast. As the nerf keeps increasing until 30%, it's also possible for people to stay in and just get healed through the damage. If you're going to stay in while they're stacked, I recommend using AMS as soon as they start casting. Use AMZ 4 seconds later, followed by IBF like I just did here. I recommend asking one of your healers to use CDs to keep you alive during the stack if you're going to do this. Yor'sahj. Use your CDs off the rip again. Save your Death and Decay and Engineering Explosives for the adds that spawn. Use Festering Strike to convert all your Frost and Blood runes to Death runes just before they spawn so you can spam Blood Boils. Time your Dark Transformation for the add phase. Until the adds are removed from parses, pray for a lot of the black blobs. Keep your AMS for when the adds spawn. You need the extra runic power regen to spam Death Coil to maximize your AoE damage. Bone Leak Fetish might be useful here. Zon'ozz. This fight will depend on how fast your raid typically kills them. If your raid kills Zon'ozz 3.5 minutes or longer, use our gargoyle on pull and then hold it for the last phase for the increased damage from the debuff stacks. Keep your pet on Zon'ozz if you're not struggling with tentacle damage. Refresh diseases if they're low before you enter the tentacle phase for higher uptime. Ask your raid lead if you can stay on Zon'ozz after you transition into the second phase. Ideally, you get to stay on the boss since having to run out for the adds is most definitely a DPS loss, and a pretty big one because of the stack Zon'ozz gets for increased damage. Use AMS for whenever the ball comes back to hit the raid. You can do this to maximize your runic power gain throughout the fight. Hagara. Use Gargoyle as soon as possible to avoid losing casts to when she immunes herself. Save Gargoyle for after the first lightning or frost phase if your kills are shorter than 3 minutes, however. Soak the lines with AMS during lightning phase. Steal Shattered Ice with Dark Simulacrum. She casts it a few times outside of the lightning and frost phases, and you can steal it using Dark Simulacrum. I'll link a weak aura that will tell you when to use Dark Simulacrum in the description since it's easy to miss the casts. Keep your Death and Decay for the Ice Tombs and spread your diseases to them immediately when they spawn. Use Blood Boil to increase your AoE damage on the tombs as well. You may not get any Blood Boils in depending on how fast your group is killing the Ice Tombs though. If they do a partition and remove tombs from parsing, just ignore the tombs instead. Ultraxion. If you're going to be unholy for Ultraxion, make sure you never use Death and Decay. It will not hit the boss. Make sure you are close enough to the edge to ensure the tentacle from your Girthalak procs can hit the boss. They won't hit the boss if you're standing too far back. See where I'm standing for reference here. Pray you don't get a lot of fading lights, and make sure to log your kill to ensure your damage is accurate. You lose out on damage if the person logging the kill isn't with you when you enter the Twilight Realm. You can soak Hour of Twilight as Unholy. Ideally though, you only soak one with AMS and IBF. If you have to soak in a second one, use AMS and AMZ. You may need an external cooldown to survive the second one. Warmaster Blackhorn. Army right before Warmaster spawns. Use AMS and move in front of Garyona when she uses her breath for extra runic power. Boost out 10 yards or more, when you cast your gargoyle to avoid the silencing effect or Warmaster's disrupting roar. Try to place your gargoyle in a safe place to avoid being stunned by Warmaster's shockwave. Your gargoyle will not cast while he's stunned or when he's silenced. Spine of Deathwing. Make sure you equip the Rotting Skull trinket before you start the fight. Always go into every Burning Tendon with 4 Death Runes and full runic power. When the amalgamation is at 8 to 9 stacks, you can pop AMS for multiple full runic power bars in case you need more Shadow Infusion stacks for Dark Transformation. Use your gargoyle and any available strength CDs right before the tendon spawns. Use Dark Transformation when the ad starts exploding, and put down Deafen Decay around 2 seconds before the tendon spawns. Use this tendon targeting macro here, and you should be able to spam only Scourge Strike and Death Coil for each tendon to maximize your damage. Keep Blood Tap to get 2 additional Death Runes, and you can use Blood Tap right after you Festering Strike with your left Blood Rune to get 2 Death Runes. Madness of Deathwing. Dismiss your ghoul while jumping between platforms to make him spawn on the new platform. You may need to use a pet move macro to move your ghoul closer to Deathwing on the final platform. Sometimes your ghoul will bug and start running off the platform to go hit the boss. Remember, Spell Weave doesn't count toward parses. Keep your cooldowns for Cataclysm phases. As long as the arm is below 90%, you can always AMS. Make sure you have Death Runes and Deafen Decay ready for AoE on the Regenerating Bloods. Check your kill times to plan your cooldown windows. The increased damage phase starts 2 minutes into each platform. Unfortunately, parsing here will be better on longer kills with longer Cataclysm phases. Until the Cataclysm damage is normalized, groups who kill this faster will be harder to parse with. Pro tip. Get the PvP trinket Cataclysmic Gladiator's Insignia of Victory. Swap out your Eye of Unmaking trinket with the PvP trinket about a minute or so before pull. Go get stacks of Sulfuran Slammers from Plugger Spazzering and Blackrock Depths. The damage from this item procs the PvP trinket, and the effect stays on you after you swap back to your normal trinket. I recommend using this Slammer macro at 12, 11, and 10 seconds before pull to increase your chances at proccing your trinket. The first number represents the bag, the second number represents the number for the slot. Use Army like normal around 8 to 9 seconds and swap back to your normal trinket about a second before pull. If you get the PvP trinket to proc at the right time, you have an extra 1400 strength for your gargoyle, which is huge for your DPS. Other classes can do the same thing with the other PvP trinkets. Alright, and that concludes my tips and tricks for parsing in Dragon School as an Unholy DK. Thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next video.